What's up everybody, Jack Farr here on behalf of Box to Box Football. I'm going to bring you the end of season awards. Now, there's going to be some traditional awards, best player, best manager, that kind of thing. But I'm also going to throw in some alternative ones as well. Obviously, going to try and have fun with it as much as I can. Please be sure if you do like the video to drop a like, and if you're not subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel a lot. So, starting us off, we're going to pull no punches. Player of the season. Now, I just want to kind of give a quick shout out and just a lot of credit to Harry Kane. I mean, to win the assist leader award and the golden boot in the same season is unbelievable. And it's, I think, fair to say that has really been the most devastating attack, that Spurs attack of Son and Kane, that kind of tandem. I picture that obviously Kane in a Manchester United shirt or a Manchester City shirt, what that might mean for next season's Premier League. So very, very impressive. However, for me, there's one man who can win it, and this is kind of a throwback central defender. I recommend everybody go and watch a clip of him giving a team talk at Benfica when he was a few years younger. Reuben Diaz. It's been incredible. He's totally transformed that Manchester City team, and he's really had that kind of Virgil van Dijk effect on that Manchester City back line, putting Aymeric Laporte out of a job, basically having John Stones recover some form. He's been an absolute colossus, and what a signing he's been. So, moving on to manager of the season. Now, anybody who's watched me for a little while, they know that I'm big on environment, and it's what you can do with what you have. So, an example of this is if you have it all and you don't, you achieve something, but it's not really as much as you should achieve, then I'm not as impressed. I'm more impressed with the people who, there's not a lot there to be had and they don't have much to work with, but they manage to achieve. That's my kind of feeling for manager of the season. Now, with that in mind, I do actually have 4 honourable mentions for this one. So obviously Pep Guardiola, fantastic season for Manchester City, but like I talked about with the environment and what's there to be had, he had a lot of money to spend, and that squad is very expensive. He can really kind of have whatever he wants, and it was very, very good, especially that 19-20 game winning streak was fantastic, but around the sides of that, not overly impressive, and in kind of a down year for the Premier League in terms of quality. I think they could have done better, so Pep just misses out, but still a fantastic achievement. Marcelo Bielsa, my favourite team to watch if I'm watching kind of as a neutral in a football game. Marcelo Bielsa faces teams that are going to defend against him the same way he faces teams that are going to attack him, and I absolutely love it. He's been a breath of fresh air for the league, and I'm really excited to see what Leeds can do going forward. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think that we can underestimate. I know there's COVID and there's no fans, so this is probably a large reason why they were so successful away from home, but I think the 4th or 5th team in Premier League history to go undefeated away from home, incredibly impressive. I think the last team to do that was, I think, the Invincibles, Arsenal's Invincibles team. Like I say, very much aided by the lack of fan presence, but a very strong showing from Manchester United, and they outperformed their XG in terms of where they finished in the league table by quite a lot more than any other team. So a couple of signings, maybe a Harry Kane, who knows what will happen next season. And finally, Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, Leicester City, fantastic in terms of overachievers. Obviously, they just missed out, but I know these are kind of Premier League awards, but the FA Cup is a fantastic achievement and consolation prize. And I think the Europa League is the kind of competition next year which they could look at and think, hey, we can actually win this. However, my manager of the season is David Moyes. Yeah, I think West Ham are, you could easily see West Ham finishing 17th, 16th, as well as you could see them, finishing in the top half of the table. They really are one of those teams, but I think David Moyes has come in, some fantastic recruitment from the team there. Jesse Lingard on loan has been an absolute revelation. Pablo Fornals found some form at the end there. Thomas Souček has been phenomenal. For me, a real contender for kind of a player of the season type performance. They've had really strong central defensive recruitment over the last kind of 5-6 years or so, with the likes of Issa Diop, Ogbonna, and obviously Lucas Fabianski has been stellar again. Mikel Antonio, Kufal. I really can't say enough good things about this West Ham team, but it all comes from the man himself, David Moyes. Okay, moving on to signing of the season. Now I have two honourable mentions here. So first of all, it's Emiliano Martinez. Now, this is my goalkeeper of the season. I think he's been absolutely fantastic with what he's done at Aston Villa. Really stellar performances from him. A real shame from Arsenal to see Bernd Leno's performances really not really be up to scratch, and see Emiliano Martinez do so well. So credit to him. I think he was a big part of how successful Aston Villa were this season. Also, the Jesse Lingard loan. I do just want to kind of make a comment on that. That was a real. I mean, very rarely in football do you get a kind of win-win-win type scenario for kind of the team that are putting them out on loan, the team that are receiving player, and for the player. Most of the time a player kind of loses out, but this was an absolutely fantastic, I know it was in January, but a fantastic loan signing from West Ham, which really helped them push on from kind of the end of January through to the end of the season. So great signing from Lingard. However, obviously I know this is maybe a little bit of a cop-out, but my signing of the season is Reuben Diaz. I don't think you can sign a player and have them be the best player in that division and then not have them be the best signing. So Reuben Diaz is my player, is my signing and player of the season. Goal of the season. Now, this one's obviously a little more fun, more kind of, beauty in the eye of the beholder. But I've got a few candidates, and I'm just going to kind of talk this out and see where I end up. So, first of all, I think this one goes really underrated, and I'm kind of leaning towards this one, to be honest. Tanguy Ndombele's kind of outside of the foot lob from that really tight angle against Sheffield United. I think that was an incredibly difficult piece of skill to pull off, and he managed to do it with real kind of composure, confidence, and I don't know. Tanguy Ndombele's goal against Sheffield United. Please go look that up. I don't think I can link it on here. I'll probably get a copyright strike. But Ndombele's kind of outside of the foot lob against Sheffield United is definitely up there for me. My second of my four kind of contenders here for goal of the season. Yeah, Eric Lamela's Rabona finish. I mean, very rarely nowadays do you see that kind of like sauce in a football game. You know, there's not very many players who are trying to do this kind of stuff, be entertainers. First of all, it's a great finish. I think the power in which he hit it, it wasn't kind of a gimmick. That takes some real skill and some real effort. He really hit it with some kind of power too. So, yeah, Lamela's finish, like I said, I've got a real soft spot for that one. We can't talk about goal of the season without talking about arguably the best header of the season, the best headed goal of the season, but then the fact that it was done by a goalkeeper. Alisson's header against West Bromwich Albion, yes, it was a huge moment and, massive for Liverpool eventually making top four, and that, really big for them. But, I mean, it was a great header, let's be honest. And if we consider the guy doing it, you could say that maybe I'm being a bit of a homer here because, I do love Alisson. He is fantastic. But I think that has to be a contender. The importance of the goal, the quality of the goal, and who scored it. Alisson's definitely a contender for me. And finally, Edison Cavani's lob against Fulham. I think that was just a real spectacle, especially to have fans back in the stadium to see a goal of that nature. I just thought this one I needed to make a remark on it. I honestly don't think I'm going to pick this one to win. Right, I'm thinking this out. Lamela versus Arsenal. I'm sorry, but North London derby, you're hitting a Rabona, like kind of a driven shot into the bottom hand corner. That's absolutely huge. I do really like the Ndombele goal, and I think that deserves more credit. I know a lot of people will maybe say, what about the Lanzini goal? As far as I'm concerned, like there have been quite a lot of like really big hitter type goals. I usually like something that's a little different. There are so many outside the box curler type goals that you could really pick from, and I know Lanzini's was great, but I like something a little different from my goal of the season. So I think I'm going to go Eric Lamela versus Arsenal for my goal of the season. It's funny that I just brought up the Lanzini goal and people saying, oh, surely that's goal of the season. We're moving on to moment of the season now. And moment of the season, as far as I'm concerned, is that Lanzini goal. I mean, that was a crazy game from Spurs. I know that a lot of Spurs fans got trolled for that because weren't they 3-0 up in like 20 minutes or so? And they were like, we're rolling, here we go. And for Lanzini to hit that last goal is absolutely massive. London derby as well, maybe not a hotly contested one, but that was just a huge moment. I remember watching that live thinking, damn, that's what football's all about. I like that. Moving on to a slightly different section now. This is what I'm going to call, what did we learn? Now, as far as I'm concerned, from this season, what we learned is that football is absolutely nothing without its fans. The atmosphere makes all the difference, and I will say that I have actually kind of enjoyed the silence because you can kind of hear the communication of the players, and there's a little bit more of a different dynamic to it. You can hear what the managers are saying as well. But there's a different feeling watching a live football game with fans in attendance, and I'm hoping, let's not kind of, touch wood. I'm hoping that we're going to have full capacity fans, hopefully at some point in the next 12 months. But obviously, it's nothing that we could ever guarantee. But yeah, that's kind of what I learned. I think I enjoyed the silence for a short period, but man, I missed the noise too. Moving on to kind of the last four here, kind of going to try and do this more quick fire. So first of all, underachievers, yeah, Brighton. I don't know what to tell you. Brighton, solid defensive team, some really talented defenders in there, some good midfielders too. They create so many chances, Brighton, and they really are a great team to watch. Graham Potter has done a fantastic job, and I think that, if you're a team like Tottenham, for example, Graham Potter is certainly somebody that I would say is worth considering for a club like that. Any club as well that's potentially going to look to sack their man at Wolves. I mean, Wolves and Graham Potter going to Wolves, that would be something I'd personally really like to see, especially with Raul Jimenez coming back. I don't think that Wolves are going to go that way. I think they are going to bring another Portuguese manager in from the Superliga. What the hell's that? What's it called? Anyway, doesn't matter. From the Portuguese league. But yeah, Graham Potter and Brighton, I think you've got to say they're underachievers. He has done a fantastic job, but they've not had somebody to finish the high amount of chances which they've brought in. Now, that is a bit of a shame because, I think you'd like to think that maybe this summer or maybe even in January it's an issue that they could have addressed. But yeah, Brighton for sure really should have been kind of challenging for European places this year, and it's a shame that they weren't. Overachievers, I have to go with West Ham. If you'd have asked me where I thought West Ham were going to finish, I'm sure the video is somewhere. I'm sure I'd have put them kind of bottom half of the table, maybe somewhere sitting around, maybe, 12th to 14th, somewhere around that kind of range. And as far as I'm concerned, what they've been able to do with the squad that they have available to them, guys, there's no real standout players there. I rate Ogbonna, Issa Diop, Souček, Pablo Fornals, Mikel Antonio. I'm personally a huge Jared Bowen fan. I think he's terrific, but none of these players you'd really say in isolation are going to get in any of the other bigger teams. So to achieve what he's managed to achieve in the time that he's now spent there, it's his second stint there, I believe. I think West Ham fans have many reasons to be excited. If they can keep hold of Declan Rice too, that'll be important. But the way the recruitment's gone, West Ham fans, I would tell you that selling Declan Rice for a crazy, extortionate amount of money, and I would have faith in the guys that you're going to bring in, because over the last 18 months or so, the recruitment has been fantastic. So West Ham for sure are my overachievers. Okay, we're going to play hero and villain now, just to kind of end things out. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Neal Maupay is the villain. He's been on the end of a lot of scuffles, a lot of bookings, some red cards here and there, and also some post-match comments. Yeah, swearing at officials. He's a real kind of wind-up merchant, and I feel that, largely speaking, the relationship with Premier League fans to Neal Maupay is not positive. So that's going to be my villain for this season, Neal Maupay. My hero, yeah, it's got to be Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford cannot continue doing what he does off the field without maintaining this level of recognition. I believe he's the youngest person ever to be in the Sunday Times giving list or whatever it was, and I think he exceeded whoever was second or third by quite a margin. So Marcus Rashford and his efforts off the field, whether it comes to social inequality or any of these kind of social issues, he's absolutely killing it as far as I'm concerned. And England player, Manchester United player, very, very rarely, if at all, puts a foot out of line. It's incredibly difficult to dislike a guy who's doing such great things for the world. Guys, let me know what you thought of the video. Do you disagree, agree with any of my things there? So we had player of the season, manager of the season, signing of the season, goal of the season, moment of the season. What did we learn? Underachievers, overachievers, hero and villain. If there's anybody I missed out or you thought that should have potentially won one of these awards, then let me know. But failing that, we'll see you next time.